while back, I decided my 96 Geo Tracker rattled too much and bought this 2001 BMW Z3, hoping for something with fewer stupid little problems. I had been carless for a while and was super tired of my parents' Pontiac vibe. So when I found this, I drove the 2 hours and bought it immediately for $3,500. It wasn't until later that I found out it leaked like a motherfucker. I fixed that easily enough, then left a heater fan running in it for 2 weeks with the seats removed. After I bailed out all the standing water, that is. This video is mostly about the next most pressing issue, which is the broken-ass driver's window that was not simply off the track as suggested. Already tore a pair of pants on that, but a new handle's like fucking $140. And the only used one on eBay is $100, and it is also broken. Yeah, look at this shit show. You got tack welds everywhere, you got pop rivets, you got pieces that broke after it was tack welded. All needs to go. Uh-oh. Well, I guess that's where it's staying now. Somebody wildly sprayed a bunch of yellow grease in here, trying to get it to work better, I assume. Literally all that's going to do is make this more of a pain in the ass to work with. Come on, you motherfucker. Based on what I've read online, I think this little part might be the cause of this whole mess. There's supposed to be a threaded stud sticking out of there that holds the window regulator. And eventually that snapped all these things up here. Apparently this is a common problem, so I made sure to get a salvage door with a solidly attached window. There were none in the right color, and having it matched was going to be $500, so I marked out the piece of it that I really needed to weld into my door. I scribed straight lines between the edges of various cutouts so it would be easy to duplicate when I cut the same area out of my door. I cut outside my lines on this one so I could cut inside them on the car and theoretically not have a gap when I installed it. I can only get so much done at my parents' over the weekend before I go back to my place, so with the window gone I had to tape over it with some garbage to keep the rain and cats out. Driving it back to the shop without seats wasn't easy, and getting out wasn't so graceful either. That is fucking loud. God. That is pretty fucked up. Broken there. Bent and broken there. Tack weld, tack weld, tack weld, tack weld. Shitload of pop rivets. Garbage. After cleaning some of the paint off the edges, I clamped the new piece in place and marked all of the spots that needed trimmed. Turned out I did pretty well not making gaps. About to burn a whole lot of paint.
Yeah, you might be surprised.
No, I won't. There's the welded in panel. All the welds look pretty much like trash, but they're solid and they're going to be hidden anyway. Next piece is this little stud that broke off a long time ago. I rather optimistically cut this one off of the door that I bought, thinking I was going to be able to weld it back in, but not super accessible, so I think I'm just going to make a little bolt-on thing that uses these two holes to attach. It's almost like they anticipated this thing breaking off. Didn't really have to weld on the bolts as studs, so I could have just as easily left them loose. This is a German car, however, so a bit of over-engineering bordering on unnecessary complication will fit right in. Thought I was finished here, but like a dumbass, I put this on the wrong side. So now I get to do it again. Third stud is back on. Hopefully this is the last time. Gonna use the regulator out at the door I bought because it's in better shape. This one came out of a junkyard at some point. In order to do that, I'm going to have to swap the motors because the cable connectors are two different types. And I already tried putting this in the car once, you know, because why would a couple of model years apart of the same generation car have two different types of wiring connectors? So I just wasted a good amount of time on that. Hope this motor's not shot. In fact, it'd probably be a good idea to check that before I put it all back together. Oh, it spins around alright. Hopefully it works alright under load too. To make it a little easier to get back in this time, I'm going to make sure the regulator is in the window down position. Using a stack of washers and a nut to match the height of the original stud. And this nut will also allow me to crush down the bent up pieces of the original bracket. Bet you that's stronger than the original spot welded one. I think my stud placement might be a little high. Hopefully I can shove this down into position. I did just eyeball that. Hey, it fits. Everything's back together inside the door. I think it works as good as it's going to. In any case, it looks like it seals all right against the roof. So I'm throwing it back together because I'm tired of driving my parents' stupid old Vibe. I hate this car. I hate driving it. I hate looking at it. And most importantly, if I'm driving it, it means my car is broken, so it's just a symbol of my frustration. So I ended up getting stuck with the Vibe again last week. Z3 stranded me. Didn't record anything explaining why, because it just would have been a incoherent string of motherfuckers and piece of shit. But what happened is the driver's seat wiring harness broke a terminal off, and I couldn't move it back and forth. And since I couldn't move it back and forth, I couldn't install it. And I do need the driver's seat to drive it. Not much left to the bottom of that terminal. I can't really figure out how to get this apart while it's attached to the seat, so I'm just gonna cut it off and reattach it later. It's as good a spot as any, I guess. Several attempts at fixing this shit later, I ended up using a piece of copper sheet to make a new terminal. I didn't film that part apparently. I guess I was too mad about none of my other fixes working and having to do electricity in the first place. That's both of them in. Hope that was actually the problem and it works now. Check that shit out. I can do electricity. Oh, now that the car is functionally back together, there's one last issue to take care of. And that is the issue of this airbag I got out of the door that I bought. In its current form, it's really pretty dangerous. A static shock could set it off at any time. So frankly, it would be irresponsible to dispose of this without first properly deactivating it. Guess what I'm saying is, this is really all just in the name of safety. Asshole cats puked on my tools.